Hey guys, it's Robin. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Today I've got a little something different for you. This segment is a What's for Dinner segment where I'll be making some, what my family calls Cowboy Beans. I know there's different titles to this certain recipe, but I've raised my children on calling them, and I was raised on calling them Cowboy Beans, where you just take some pinto beans. I soak mine overnight. Some people don't soak them and it might take a little longer to cook, but I've always soaked mine overnight and then put them in a crock pot or just a regular pot over the stove. A Dutch oven could be used also. And then I ground some hamburger meat and add that to it. So anyway, I usually make a ton because it's really hard for me not to make a ton of these. So anyway, I'll be making cowboy beans in this episode of What's for Dinner. And then I have a girlfriend that really wanted her laundry room organized. You know, sometimes we can let things in our house just get away from us, and it's just easier sometimes to let a friend come over and help you get organized, and then that will get you back on track to keep everything organized. It's kind of like getting your systems in order. Once you get your systems in order, it's so much easier to keep things going consistently. So I'll be stopping, and once I get my beans on, I'll be stopping, changing clothes, going over to a friend's house, and her daughter, mainly Gracie, will be helping me get her laundry room back in order. So I'll post that right after, in between me getting my beans done, and then I'll come back when we're through at her house getting it organized and show you the after effects of my cowboy beans and how great they look. Okay, I'm just going to show y'all how I prepare my beans before I go to bed. I've got a 4-pound bag of pinto beans here in the Great Value. I'm going to use about a little under half of this bag. You can tell her I don't measure. I'm going to wash them really well, and then I'm going to put them back in this pan and fill them up with water. And then what you'll want to do then is just leave them in your refrigerator overnight for them to absorb that water and to get softer before you start to cook them. I've soaked my beans overnight. As you can see, they didn't absorb really any more of the water. So I'm going to rinse them real well one more time and put them in the crock pot. In the meantime, I'm going to get my hamburger meat browning. Now you can use whatever seasonings you prefer. Everyone kind of has their go-to seasonings, but I'm going to use some salt and pepper, some garlic powder, some onion powder, some chili powder, and some Creole seasoning. And here's my hamburger meat that I'm going to brown real quickly. Now, as far as how much I use of each seasoning, I just kind of throw it in there and hope for the best. I don't really measure anything. So, okay, let's get to browning our hamburger meat. All right, I want to kind of give you a close-up. I just took my spatula and just kind of broke up the meat is all that I did. So now it's browning. I've got it on maybe a little bit more than medium heat right now. We'll turn it down in a second. But, okay, so now that I've kind of cut it, broke up a little bit, I'll just kind of show you how I add my, since I don't measure, kind of show you how I add my spices. So I always usually take the tops off of my salt and just kind of sprinkle over the top. So that's all I'll do there. And same thing for my pepper. I do add a little bit more pepper because we all know I'm a pepper fan. Sprinkle on your pepper. And then the garlic powder. I don't take the tops off these because I'm always afraid I'm going to do too much. Okay, and then again, just sprinkle over the top. Same thing with my onion powder. And then my Creole seasoning. And then my chili powder. Now, some people will say, this is the worst way to do it, not measuring it, but I've just always done it this way. So, okay, and then just kind of stir it up and let this meat continue to cook. In the meantime, I'm going to get my crock pot out, now that I've got my beans washed, and show you what I add to my beans also besides this meat. So, be right back. All right, now let's cut up an onion real quickly. I know some of you do not like onions. My family, we like the taste of it mainly. So I always cut up an onion and put it in there also. So let's get this cut up real fast. I know people cut up onions in different ways, but This is all I'll do with mine. Okay. Then we're just going to slice it up. You don't have to cut it very small. They're kind of almost just disintegrate anyway. They kind of get so soft, but it does give your beans such a great taste. I try to put a chopped up onion pretty much in anything that I cook in my crock pot. So also, for you guys that don't have a crock pot, you can pretty much use any big pot. And the pot that you saw that I had my beans soaking in, or really any pot you could just put on the top of your stove, and you could still cook those beans all day. I'd recommend, like I'll do with my crock pot also, just keep checking the water on it. That's the most important thing. But you don't have to have a crock pot necessarily to make those beans. So let's get this put. Just going to put these in the bottom of the crock pot before I put anything else in there. Okay, so let's get this assembled. I'm going to throw in my beans that I've soaked overnight, and I've rinsed them one more time. Throw my beans in there, which I've made an exceptional amount of beans because I'd like to share them. Anything I cook, I still cook like a massive amount of stuff, even though my children aren't here anymore. It's just hard to go down to just 2 people. So usually I'll fix extra and see if one of my children wants to have some of it. So anyway, I'm making a whole bunch of beans. Then I'll take my meat and put my meat in there. Awesome. Then I like to take a can of Rotel tomatoes. I do mild. You could do hot if you prefer, but I love adding a can of Rotel tomatoes. It gives the beans awesome flavor. So don't forget, I've got the onions underneath and then the Rotel tomatoes. Now, I'm trying to use everything out of my refrigerator. So I've got some beef broth that's open that I have left over from another cook and clean that I did for you guys. So I'm going to finish off this beef broth. Of course, if you just want to use beef broth and don't use water, you can certainly do that. But I'm just going to finish this box off, and then I'm going to add some water. And you just kind of want to, I'm going to add this water, then I'm going to kind of stir it up a little bit. But you definitely want to keep your beans covered. You don't want them to dry out. So let's get in here with a spatula and kind of move everything around and see if we need to add any more water. So in a crock pot or on the top of the stove, your main thing is just to make sure, if it needs water, you need to keep checking it, every hour or so to see if it needs water. So right now, I think we're good now. It's barely cover the top of it. So now I'm going to do this on 8 hours low. And hey, I almost forgot. I'm going to pop on here and also say, you can also add some bacon to your beans. So I just kind of took some bacon and chopped up in bite-sized pieces. This also adds lots of flavor. So we're going to have lots of flavor going on here between the onions, the Rotel, the spices, and the bacon. And for you that save your bacon grease, I do every now and then, but I did have some bacon grease also. So I'm going to finish off this bacon grease and also put this in the beans. Stir that up some. So that's just another something extra you can do. Of course, you don't have to do that step, but if you have it in your fridge, you might as well use it. All right, and one thing I wanted to mention real quickly is sometimes we forget. Try to make a habit of every time you get your spices out, try to wipe them off before you put them back in the pantry. It's just a really good sanitizing tip. I try to make this a habit, and especially if you're going to be using working with raw meat, just to wipe off your things before you put them back in the spice cabinet. Let me show you my spice cabinet real quickly. The only organization I have to it is that the ones I use regularly, I keep in the front, and then the ones I don't really use that much, I put in the back. So if you'd like to see me maybe do an organizational video regarding my spices, maybe I can get a little lazy Susan or something, let me know in the comments and I'll do that video for you. Guys, I'm going to do one more thing to my beans. Totally forgot that I had my Easter ham, a ham bone from my Easter ham in the fridge. So I cut off a little of the meat as much as I could. Of course, fed some to my dogs. And I'm going to put a little bit of ham meat in there. And I'm going to put this ham bone in there if it will fit. Because y'all saw my beans are rather full. So let's see if it'll fit. Okay, here it goes. Let's see what we can do with this. Looks disgusting, doesn't it? Okay, it may fit. Smush, smush. Let's get something to stir it with. But man, what flavor. I never have a ham bone. So let's see if we can get that in there. I think just the little bit that it's in there now will do it some good. So wow, is that a pot of beans or what? I may be feeding Morse Road today. Okay, I'm gonna leave it in there. Let's see how it turns out. Okay guys, it's actually been like 7 hours. So I believe they're ready. I tasted them. They're delicious. So let's plate these up real fast. And we have supper ready. Okay, y'all, now that I've showed you how great my cowboy beans turned out, I'm going to insert this segment where I go over and organize my friend's laundry room and her pantry. I was definitely in my element doing that. I just love organizing. I think it's just the outlook of it when you're done is super satisfying. So I hope you also get some satisfaction out of this short mini makeover in my friend's utility room. Anyway, I'm going to end my video here. Thanks again for coming and supporting my YouTube channel. It's so much fun. It's totally new for me, but I just truly enjoy it. And I appreciate each and every one of you that's subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, there's a red subscribe button that you can just click on to join my YouTube family. It's totally free. There's also a little bell notification button. If you'll mash that, every time I upload a new video, YouTube will notify you of it. So again, any comments from me, any questions, I'd love to hear from you in the comment section. Thanks again, y'all. Bye. Okay, so here's a shot. That's her back door right in front of me, and then to the right is her pantry and broom closet, and then over here to the left is her washer and dryer. So her main thing she wanted is just more cabinet space. We're going to put 2 more cabinets there to give her some more cabinet space above her washer and dryer, and then she can put her big kitchen appliances, her mixer and things like that on top of the top cabinet. We just put that in there. The washer and dryer was kind of spaced together, and we spread them apart and got that wire basket to go in front of there. So that's the washer and dryer. Here's the coat closet, as you can see. So we already have this little bar thing where you hang your broom and your mop and things like that, which get everything off the floor. Because I think once everything is off the floor and organized, it'll look even bigger. Then we're going to go over to the pantry, and we've got some kitchen organizers to use for the canned food and different storage baskets to use, and just to kind of get all the canned food in one area, the baking stuff in another area. And the best thing to do to me when you start in a pantry is just to take all the food products out, take everything out of the box, and start sorting the food, and then you can kind of see what you have and what needs to go back into your pantry. Like, actually, we didn't even take her sugar and flour and stuff and put it in here. We actually made room for it in the actual kitchen. So, okay, so now you're going to see where we've got our contractor here, and he's just a friend of the family's, and he's coming in to take the 1 shelf out and then to add 2 more shelves. So this is just showing you where he's taking all the shelves out. All right, so now we've taken everything out of the pantry. I've taken off that shelf paper that was already there and wiped everything down really well. We got some new shelf paper to go in here. Now, the new shelf paper that we got, it's not the stick-on kind, because that is just so hard for me to put up. So we just kind of got the kind that just lays on top of there. So that's what we did. And of course we had to make our template. And then once we got our measurements for our shelf paper and cut one, then we kind of used that to cut our other 3 that we need. So I think there's 4 shelves in there. So anyway, so after we've done that, we went in there to make sure it fit, and we cut 3 more of them. And then here you can see where we got 2 shelves up now. He'll put a top shelf on that top rail, and that's where we will put her appliances on that top one. So really, she goes from having 1 shelf to 3 shelves. And then here you see that we're sorting food. Like I said earlier before, I believe that's the best thing to do. Take everything out of your pantry and sort by cereal, boxed items, what you cook with, what you bake with, all your canned foods, your condiments, and I believe she also had some extra cleaning stuff in there, which we will move on top of her
washing machine now, so she won't need those in her pantry. That'll give her some more space. So we did put the cereal in these cereal containers, but I'm not real sure. That took up a lot of room, so I'm not real sure. I think if I did it again, I would definitely get those small squared cereal holders instead of those real big ones. And of course, I didn't show y'all what organizers I bought to go in the pantry. Totally forgot to film that. But I just bought some. I try to get just white to go in the pantry, so it'll kind of be all look the same. And then I got baskets to go on top of the washing machine, all the same kind, to make it kind of flow together also. So anyway, that's all we're doing here is we're just sorting through the food and getting it all organized, and that also makes it easier when we do go to put it back into the pantry. And here, Gracie's just showing me that one shelf there is bigger than the other one, so we had to go back and recut a little strip to fit that shelf there. But here you can see where the shelves are now in. We took all of her kitchen appliances and put them on the top rack, which has really freed up a lot of space in her kitchen, which I know that was the most important thing for her. Here you'll see the coat closet here in a second also, where that's all organized and put together. Everything's off the floor. All the brooms are put up. That is, to me, looks like just a totally different coat closet now, or broom cabinet, whatever you want to call it. And here you see we put our produce in the basket down there. We've got 2 can organizers that are adjustable. So Gracie put all the cans and organized the canned food on those little can stackable shelves. And there's my white baskets I used. There's the cereal containers and all the chips from the bottom in that basket at the bottom. I so hope this video motivates you, especially for you guys that really feel like you've lost control of your laundry room. Call a girlfriend, get her over there. You'll be so surprised what a little cleaning and organization can do for you.